All right. It is, I don't know what day. I guess it's Monday. It's supposed to be a holiday, but we're going to be talking about a soul net. But before we do that, I would like for you guys to kind of understand that today is Memorial Day. So I thought it's perfect that where am I hearing music or something? Okay. So it's perfect that it is Memorial Day and we're going to be talking about souls. And since a lot of people like to use this day to connect with different people, we're going to be doing that. Now, we're going to make light of there is a soul net. There is something out there that's trapping our souls when we come back. And we're going to cover that today. We're going to cover what I consider the death light trap. We're going to go into that. We're also going to cover how they do it and then why they do it. We're going to get into that. Why do they trap our souls? Why are they doing that? And who is it? Of course, you should know it's those pesky reptilians and how to resist the trap. We're going to go into that as well. And then we're going to talk about the moon, the actual thing that they're using to do that. So let's get started right after this.
That back there is not real.
There was a group of reptilians there, and they stood around me in a circle.
Tradition tells us that the army of the Messiah is not to come from heaven, but is to arise in
earth. So oftentimes people be talking about, hey, what happens to our souls? Why are we still here? Are we reincarnated? Or are we incarnated? And we're going to be going through that as well. Give me an audio check in the chat. Make sure everything is good. All right, we're good. And let's get down into it because this is going to be a deep conversation today. We're going to have a great deep conversation. Now, you already know these pesky reptilians, okay? And I know now that the government has released the files and the government is now saying that reptilians are here, that we have insectoids, we got the grays, we have, the Palladians or whoever else they want to talk about. But there is a huge thing that's going on to why people or feeling drained and why we're kept here and why it is important for you to learn how to ascend or the ascension to get off the planet. In fact, it also goes back to when I hear about some of these wealthy people trying to populate Mars and all these other places. Maybe they figured out that if they get off the planet and pass away, they are beyond the soul net that is behind it. I'm going to give you some information of who and when that they discovered this invisible soul net is actually have been discovered. And we're going to talk about that later on into the show as well. So I'm going to get right into some of our conversations that we're going to do. And hopefully each and every one of you are having a great weekend today, or if it's a holiday and you are out doing your barbecuing, because obviously Memorial Day supposed to be the first day of barbecue season as well. So that's one of those things. But, if you're here with me and I'm here with you, then, we're where we're supposed to be, right? Because I don't have any place to go today. I hadn't been invited to anybody's barbecues or anything anyway. And this happens year after year after year because a lot of people think you're busy. But ever since I've been divorced over the last 5 or 6 years, and they had a pretty big family. And so I would do a lot of stuff there, but my family doesn't do anything. And so it is what it is. And so maybe it is why we started what we got today. Let's get into what I call the death light trap, the reptilian hijack of the afterlife. And I got a lot of notes here on my desk that we're going to get into. And I think it's very important to understand that there's two different distinctions. One in particular is incarnation and one is reincarnation. Now, I was already told, and I'll get into that story later on today, that, this is my last time being here. Okay. I have an old soul. I've talked to many people. When Yaya was here, she was doing my palm reading and she just looked, it's like, whoa, she was like, you've been here a long time, a lot of times. And this is it. And so it took me quite some time to grasp that and to say, well, okay, why is this? Or what is this prediction? And then when I started studying some of the things that we are today and the things that I have, I realized there was a reason for that and for the direction of my knowledge saying, definitely of getting off this planet or going into the other dimensions to ascend into whatever my next journey is. And I'm going to tell you all of these things today. I'm going to give you the information that I've learned and something that you can also remember to do. So let's get into this right now. And someone said today a boring day. Well, we're not going to make it boring over here, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to hit it and get some information because it is reptilians. And by the way, I took the initiative last night and I reached out to about 8 top reptilian conversation influencers last night with a different kind of approach. We have been doing this. 4 of them contacted me today. I was like, what? And so I had sent them a different message. And so I think the message didn't work, and I'll get with TK about that afterwards. And also remind me to bring up about the movie theater. They contacted us today. And so we're in negotiations for that. And man, I'm just telling you, it's some good stuff. Listen, I want you to know that death, and these are my notes here, is not the liberation we were taught to believe. All right. And it's very essential because we're going to be doing the book club with TK is going to be putting that together. And I hope everybody's getting their books for the Nahagmaga text or whatever. And it applies exactly into some of these conversations that we're going to be having. Now, death is not the liberation that we have been taught to believe, but it is the moment, listen to me, that the reptilian control net tightens its grip. So there is a net. If you begin to go to places like Reddit and you go to a lot of those, you will see a lot of conversations about people talking about seeing this particular soul net. And it's not the chemtrails that most people see. You can actually see it. And like I said, over here later on in the show, from Science Daily, they actually discovered the invisible shield found thousands of miles above Earth that blocks what they call killer electrons. And why is that important? We're going to get into that. So what we're talking about today is not make-believe. It's really, truly something that they have discovered. Now, this is something that we're going to go. So let me just start out saying this. When the human body dies, consciousness steps in or out what we call the astral and the etheric planes. Now, we're talking pure, unbound, vulnerable. It's just kind of sitting out there. And at that threshold is the greatest deception of all that waits. And that deception is called the false light. So if you start looking deeper into this, and I know this is a deep conversation for you all today, but I thought it is essential to begin getting into these things because I've been doing a lot of meditation over the weekend of where we need to lead ourselves, our group, information. And since they are going to let us know that we're not the only thing walking around this planet, it is essential that Truth versus Authority go ahead and dive deeper into those areas that we should be talking about. So we're talking about the false light. And if you've heard anything about it, put it in the chat. I will put some stuff there and we can kind of go more into the detail of the false light, and we would do that. So I can see all of you over here, and let's continue. Almost every near-death account describes the same thing. Start looking up near-death accounts. When you start looking on the internet, YouTube, we'll probably get other people here as well. They talk about a tunnel. They talk about this radiant glow. They talk about figures of loved ones and angels and saviors and guides. Now, before we get into that particular part, I want you to hang around because there is some more information you need to know about seeing your loved ones at that point of contact, okay? Because that's probably something that most people don't get. But when you are done with this particular show today, you know, and hopefully on this beginning day, you're going to be prepared for yourself. Now, I want you to understand that coming back here, if you know that you're going to incarnate, is totally optional. You know, obviously, it's for some of us, we have done it over and over by choice. And then there are some times that we probably have been brought back here not knowing. And here's the thing about it. I'm going to get into this later, but there is a reason why some of our lives have trauma in it. And you want to stick around to know that. Okay. All right. So if the reason that they talk about the tunnel, they talk about this radiant glow, and they talk about these figures of our loved ones, angels and guides, because number one, it feels warm. It feels familiar. It feels divine. but this is not source. Okay. And this is one of the reasons we're doing our book club, because it's time for people to know the truth. This is not source. Remember, we all come from source. And so I'll tackle that for you momentarily as we go further, because this is going to be a little longer than an hour today, because what the hell, it's a holiday. Let's just get deep into it. Let's have our family conversation. This is our family, and what we're going to be doing today. All right. So this is not source. It's a frequency projection. So I want you to write this down if you want to. And it's engineered by the Archons, the Reptilian Alliance, to lure the souls back into the form. And I'll talk to you what that form is. And a lot of you should already know. We probably went over it tons and tons of time. Now, this is something that I don't know if I've told you that I saw something like this myself. You know, I probably have been close to near death a few times. You know, one in particular when I was shot, and the other one when they gave me 24 hours to live a few years back. You know, and I don't tell the story oftentimes, but I've also told the human side of it when I woke up and it was all this light and I was like, oh, I done effed up and died, you know, whatever. But the other side of that fence is there is a thing that you probably want to know. And of course, you know, I remember refusing the light. And I think I've told you all the story if you've heard it. And refusing the light was, let me get into that later because that's really important for you to know. But the whole point is, this is what really saved me, because there's a hook to this thing, right? The light speaks to what we long most, okay? When you hear the light and the feeling of the light, you think of reunion, you think of comfort, you think of home, you think of relief from suffering, you know, and it's one of the biggest tricks of them all. And you'll probably heard a lot of people say, even the movie Poltergeist, walk into the light. And then they said, no, Caroline, stay away from the light, you know, don't go in there. And so it was very important there. But these images are program illusions. They're a digital mask. They're designed by what we call non-human intelligence. And now we should be open for this type of conversation, because they're now telling us there's non-human intelligence that are guiding our planet. There's, you know, Jordan Maxwell talks about it all the time. I play a clip continuously of him saying that we are being guided by non-human intelligence. And that is something that has been known throughout for quite some time. But these non-human intelligence who have mastered what we call emotional manipulation over thousands of years. They've done this. They have perfected this. They know how to do this. And this is probably why we started down a path of love. We started down the path of trying to understand better love. And I am shocked anyway. I say this because we started deeply talking about this several months back. And we started putting together different types of conversations about true love and find love. And now I'm starting to, and I'm not saying I'm a perfectionist of that, but I do know that there's people out here who seek something that they're not prepared to receive. And when we are thinking about that, and it's all because of the programming that they have put into us that keep us from recognizing love when it shows or how it shows in whatever particular fashion that it's going to show, that we reject it by all means necessary. And I'm not saying that, you know, our free will and free choices of who and what we want and need and be doesn't take precedent over what you want, your desires, because this planet is put here to at some point allow you to make those choices. But the trap itself is the reincarnation cage. So I specifically said that there is reincarnation and incarnation, okay? And one in particular is those of us who said, hey, put me back in the game, coach. You know, put me back in the game because I got something to do. This is why you get these children that come here, the indigo kids. You get some of your kids who are so enlightened. Some of them chose to come back, and unfortunately and fortunately, they may chose you to be the pathway to come through. And if they get themselves into the wrong parenting or the wrong mindset of whoever's guiding them, they could be infiltrated and no longer, and now they run the risk of being trapped here. And sometimes when these enlightened children, I think, they know who you are. And some of them believe that you could be the one that will help them do things. And so, therefore, there could be some inherent type of responsibility that you have raising Pacific children under your tutelage. And so, you owe it to yourself to become a little better person too. But sometimes we don't take the responsibility, or we just don't see it. All right, so let's get into the reincarnation cage. As I said, they are redirected into what they call a soul grid. Now, everything that I'm telling you, I want you to begin to do the research yourself. I want you to begin to look it up yourself, and then you will can comprehend it a little better, and you won't have cognitive dissonance towards some of the things that I'm going to be talking about today, because there will be certain things that I'm going to say in this couple of hours, or however long we're going to be here, long as we can, that is going to trigger you. It's going to trigger the programming that you have within you to disavow something that I may say. But if it does resonate with you, then that is a good thing for your journey, because you often place yourself in the past before you get here to make sure that you're going to have the right pieces to remember what you need to remember. So souls who enter the false light, sorry to say, they don't ascend. They just don't. They are redirected into what we call the soul net grid. And you hear this all the time. So I'm speaking now in an area that I have a lot of knowledge for. I just don't talk about it enough. And it's my personal experience, because like I've told you before, I don't have any, heirs. My two children, and my daughters are not having kids. One can't and the other one's not. And therefore, there is nothing behind what I do, the legacy. And it's probably why I've written books, I do the YouTubes and a podcast, because as long as this system stays, I will live forever, from this or what they call biochemical, type of immortality and versus DNA. Now, I thought about having more kids, but then that would take me to do some type of situation with a younger person, because at my age, and if I met someone my age, we're not making babies at 50 or 25 times 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. We're not doing that. But anyway, so having said that, they do a terrible, what we call memory wipe. And I want you to understand that when you start thinking about MK Ultra, and when they start showing some of the memory wipes, they will do it with some type of electric shock. So go back and look this stuff up. And they talk about 200, 300, 400 watts. And when they do this, when they do a lifeline memory shock, from my understanding, this is like 20x bioelectric shocks that fries your soul, your not your spirit, but your soul itself. And because they have to block not decades, but lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. So there is a specific trauma. So imagine walking into the light because somebody walked you into it because you believe, oh yeah, whatever, and you go into it. So that means you come into this world with a tremendous amount of trauma, because it takes that. Now, at some point, this is why you get some people can remember certain things and some people don't. And then the other safety net that they have is that you are going to reprogram your kids because you're reprogrammed. And so that's the other part. Now, the memory wipe recycles us into what we call a new incarnation. Now, you listen to what I'm saying. We're talking about reincarnation. And then once the light is done, once again, you are reinserted. So that is a incarnation. And so the light has put us back into that. And it returns us to earth with none of our ancient knowledge. This is probably where I think we should begin the process of understanding symbols and symbolism, which a lot of people find it boring. Symbols is the key to hidden knowledge, because there was not verbal language that you're hearing me speak out of my mouth right now. There was symbols and things that our minds can read and see, and alchemy and all of these geometry shapes and all of this stuff that happens within the cosmic world that we're in. But oftentimes we're so distorted with chaos and our jobs and relationships that don't function properly. I'm going to use that word today because I'm being really nice today. And so the other part of this, we're returned to earth with none of our ancient knowledge. And there's a result to this. Results don't lie. The results that happens is an endless loop of lifetime after lifetime obedience, forgetfulness, easily controlled, constantly generating loosh. This is also, I want you to sidebar that loosh. Okay. Loosh is the whole intention of why they're doing what they're doing. All right. And again, we're going to get into why they do it, who and how. I have my notes. And so I'm going to take you on a journey today. So I hope you're ready to do this. This is going to be a unique conversation that you're going to find that I'm having with you today. And this is probably going to be an epic, long, whatever. It could be the beginning of the new journey of what I'm going to teach you, but also you're going to hear it from a different perspective today. And why not? You know, we're just chilling. So the generating loosh. Now we're talking about fear, the loosh. We're talking about trauma. We're talking about suffering for what I call the reptilian harvest. So at this point right now, it is safe for us to come into an agreeable mindset that there is entities, there is something here that is beyond our mental capacity of sight, see, and all of these things on this particular dimension that is operating, controlling, and doing some things that is not in our best interest. Okay, so you should now understand the truth that it exists. Okay, now here's how they do it. So I promise to tell you that. Then we're going to get into why they do it. And remember, I've always told you nothing is more important than the why. I don't care what you hear out here. I don't care what you watch on the news. I don't care what story you read. I don't care what is going on. I don't care who did whatever to you. I don't care who broke your heart, who did what. Find out why, okay? Because the what is what we get stuck up on. The what is what get people unalived and all this stuff. But you got to go into the why. So let's go how first, and then we're going to go to why. And why is where the emotion should hit. This is where you should be like, oh, I don't want to put up with this sugar honey iced tea. So how they do it first, we're going to talk about the archonic projection. Now we should start to begin to understand that we are in this holographic world. We're in some type of holographic world, and this is, where things are being done. You know, the projection and how we're projecting things. Now, this archonic projection is the tunnel. Okay, it's a tunnel. Is a technological simulation. It's a holographic soul frequency trap powered by none other than the Santerian and lunar machinery. So the lunar machinery is attached to the moon. We will discuss that coming up too. So make sure you stick around for that. So now you'll know there is a reason we don't keep going back to the moon. There's a reason for that. And the moon wasn't here a long time ago. It appeared here. You go into the Nahagamama text that we're going to be studying, a lot of this stuff. The moon wasn't here. This was a water planet in the beginning. That's a little quick detour, but let me get back on track. Number two is emotional manipulation. This is probably what most people experience. So the loved ones, okay, that you see are fabricated forms, and they're built from your own memories and emotional resonance to trigger compliance. So when they put this projection in front of you to walk you into the light, it's strictly it's going to be some of these loved ones. But you got to remember, and we're going to talk about this word later, that you are sovereign. Okay, you are sovereign. Remember, you are connected to source, not through someone, guided by, or anything but you. So this is something that you should remember as we go forward. Then we have the ultimate memory wipe. All right, the memory wipe. The soul's experiences are stripped, sealed, deleted in the lunar storage grid before reincarnation. All right, so this is probably, I think, is where we talk about our dreams. We talk about the lunar connections, because at some point, this thing is to be there. Okay, it's the lunar grid that takes us down into a whole nother world. Okay, and so we're going to do that. The lunar process, or processing it, what it's called, is the entire recycle mechanism is run from a hollowed out artificial satellite that we call the moon. And so that right there, we can pause there for a second because that'll take you into a lot of things that we're going to be doing today, in pretty much. And knowing that, we'll talk about our sponsors today. I'm going to talk about all this week. I'm going to give you some of my crystal malas that I wear from my magic wands to, and then also introduce you to our crystal custodian of our group. We have a crystal custodian. She's normally here with us every day on our podcast, and I'm going to give you a telephone number and an email address so that you can get custom malas done for you based on your energetic build self and all of those things from there. So as I promised, let's go with why they do it. I think this is essential for our conversation so that you can kind of get into understanding this particular path and why they do it. So number one, we're talking about loosh. I just told you about that endless loosh. Now, make note that the endless loosh of why our souls are being trapped, why they are keep bringing us back here. And let me pause for a second. There's not a person sitting here listening to my voice have not had some type of what we would consider deja vu or some type of feeling that something is just off, something is not right, or I've been here before, or I've seen this person before, I've seen this scenario, or maybe it seems familiar, because sometimes you can be reinserted back into the same timeline. I'm beginning to think that, some of our generations that were being reincarnated back into the trauma. So think about it. If they have brought your parents through trauma, you were born through trauma, then why not they be selective and put you back into the trauma cycle that you have? Okay, because remember, reincarnation is not incarnation, and some of us could have a lives of trauma and not even know why it's so darn familiar. It's because once again, and again, that's a whole nother conversation. But the endless loosh, let me get back on track, is from fear, pain, confusion, heartbreak. Let's stick there for a second. Heartbreak. Now, there's nothing probably as powerful as going through some type of heartbreak. We already know that. And then the heartbreak then kind of metaphors itself into regret and all kinds of other stuff, right? Hatred and think about it. They take from the heart. This is why love, that I'm starting to figure out, is probably one of the most powerful force, because it'll reverse all of those things. But if they can keep you into heartbreak in your life, then that goes into resentment, that goes into hatred, it goes into all of whatever you want to think of. I can probably come up with tons of words. But once again, this trauma is the reptilian food. It is these archonic people's food, because you should know by now that you, or we, all of us, are energetic beings, okay? Frequency and crystallized beings. That's why crystals are alive. And so therefore they know something. And now holographically, we're living in these bodies that we are in. And we already know you have souls and you have spirits, and then you have multiple spirits can inhabit a body. And then now we're in this flesh and body. And then all of a sudden, the problem that we're having, and I'm sad to say what I'm about to say, not sad, or maybe it is. We're now no longer, in most cases, connecting with beautiful souls. And it's probably why when you find your soulmate. I don't know the truth in that word, but I'm just throwing it out there. It sounds cool. But we're now connecting with different souls, not souls, I'm sorry. We're not recognizing good souls when we meet them, but we are connecting to certain spirits, okay? We are attracted to certain spirits. We are attracted to certain things. And if we can't ascend to recognize a good soul in someone, then that's already part of the plan. And so hopefully when we have our relationship conscious seminar and things that we're going to be doing with Brother Joseph and Brother Dreamwise and his wife Desiree and the other people that we're going to be coming, we're going to be identifying some of those concepts of noticing that you probably have met some good souls in your life. You probably have. but because of the distinction between what you think you want or what you're not used to, or maybe your desire, then all of a sudden is disconnected from that, and therefore you find yourself in this repeated process and everything else. And so we're all on the journey to go that. Now, the other part of this is what I call destiny containment. And I kind of touched on this a little bit just now, is as long as we remain trapped into what I call the third density, and we remain blind, we remain compliant, we remain easily manipulated through all of these things that we tend to see and the things that we tend to probably think is what we want, and it's not what we need, so to speak, and it just kind of works from there. Let me know if you guys are resonating with anything I'm saying today. I mean, I just want to know. I'll look over here to the chat. I'm looking into the cameras or talking to you, but I would like to know if this is a conversation, because there's a lot of things. Again, we're going to continue. We got a lot more, but I want to know, we ain't preaching today, but who am I talking to? That's what I heard in church years ago. Who am I talking to today? Let me know if anyone is resonating with what we're talking about. Because if you are, then chances is that you're starting to remember, and you could have possibly placed yourself somehow knowing that you're going to be right here, right now, at this moment, because nothing just happened. Okay? I just want you to know and repeat that after me. Nothing just happened. So make sure you understand that. So the other part of this, when I say destiny or density, containment, is as long as we remain trapped in this third density, then once we rise to the fourth density and beyond, their influence collapses instantly. There are people walking around right now who are able to tap into the 4D and 5D. I don't know anything higher than that. If it is, they won't be here, I would think. You just go. Like the movie Powder, you're like, I'm gone. I've seen the movie at the end, he's like, I'm like, forget it, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? And then they felt real love when he gone. I thought that was a beautiful movie. But so just think about it, though, as long as we remain here. So if you start thinking about, once you rise to the fourth and fifth density, then again, they can't control you. And people always ask me sometimes, why, you don't fear about the reptilian stuff or the connection. It's because, number one, my vibration is different. Anybody around me will tell you. I meet people today, and sometimes they feel so comfortable and or they can, and now I do run the mistake of seeing the good inside of people. This is something that I now spiritually have to learn, because I can see good inside of people and ignore the outer stuff. But this is where they're operating, which tends to get me hurt most of the time, because, it's like that Mother Teresa syndrome. You want more for them than they want for themselves, or whatever. And I am working on that now, to function at some point on what I see is what I get, is who they are or what they're being, unless they decide they wanted to change into something different. But oftentimes some of us can see the good inside of people, and we work from that area. And I'm not saying that's a fatal flaw, but at sometimes you can get yourself in a lot of trouble and disappointment at the end of the day, because some people are comfortable where they are, and it's the norm and everything else. And so we just kind of throw that out there to say. But the other part about this is spiritual mockery. All right. This is something that is the greatest cruelty of all. And it's funny because TK walked in here today, and this is what I hope all of you discover when you open that Nahamaga text, right? Because in the introduction, it hits you right in the face. Boom, boom, boom. And if it don't piss you off, then it didn't really hit just yet. So she's like, what? She's like, you just see expression on her face. So just so happened, I'm going to talk about spiritual mockery. There's a lot of stuff that they have done and reinverted. And everything is inversion. Inversion is the key. I just want you to know that. That's a whole nother story. But the greatest cruelty of it all is to weaponize our longing for love, home, and unity. All right. So how cruel can it get? It is probably, again, the most weaponized part because they know love is the most powerful part of it all. And we are longing for love, but they know how to invert it and make it so difficult and elusive that people be like, ah, no, you know, or whatever. And you have home, you have unity. So let me give you the mindset of truth versus authority. Our whole being is to develop community. And by far, it is the most hardest thing I have ever done in my life. I have started businesses, I've sold exotic animals, giraffe, monkeys, I've built all kinds of stuff and buy and sold all things. But when it got to a point where I said, well, let's try to love people, let me find and experience true love, but yet build a community to bring people together out of unity. That is the most difficult part. It is somewhere embedded that you cannot bring a lot of people together, unity, without individualization. And that is a problem here because they're not the one thing that we don't want to operate is the hive mind. But yet, the hive mind, if you ever seen a flock of beautiful birds moving, and you don't know who the lead bird is, it's just synchronized, but they're getting somewhere. We're so scatterbrained. Everybody want individuality. Everybody want their things and want everything else. It is so crazy. And this is why it can break up families that don't work together, right? Or units, husbands, wives, children's parents. Somehow when they can break unity, home, where you can't find home. And if you've ever met me personally, I'm pretty consistent to tell you if you walk into our space and you feel like you have found your tribe, think back to the words where I have said to you, welcome home. I guarantee you, you've heard me say it because I know how essential that is. And that I say it to you, and it may be just a lightning statement or light statement to you. It is a profound statement for your heart and everything because I know what it is. I know what it's looking for. And I will tell you right up front, welcome home. And I guarantee you can put money on that. If anybody met me personally on the phone or you say, hey, you like the group, you've heard me tell you that, right? Because I already know. Unity, we talk about that here within our community, building the community. And it's the hardest thing because now I've found that not everybody who comes around is in the good interest of us. I hate to say that out loud today, but I'm now able to seek and see everyone is searching for something, most of them. There's only a few of them who, and I'll speak with like TK and Devin and Judith and if I miss you, Maya, a lot of these other people, and if I miss you, charge it to the heart, not the mind right now because I'm studying on what I'm talking about. But there's a few people who have come in our group who are now unity. They're here for love and they're found home. Usually, some people, if it ain't the love, they ain't finding home or they're looking for something. And if we ain't getting it to them or if the topic is not just right, they won't come home. They won't come home unless I got to figure out a way to trick them to come, right? Or whatever. But anyway, that's sad, but it happens. And so hopefully we can bring them close enough where they begin to know love is community. It's unity. All right. And then of course we find that love. So what should be our return to source becomes a doorway back into bondage. So if we can't get people to understand love, unity, and home in this carnal place, they're not going to see it going back and they're going to feel comfortable walking back into the projection of light that is wrong. And they're going to keep doing it and have done it. And this is why some people feel the same thing over and over and over and over and over. They just do. Okay. And it's just kind of weird that happens all the time. So the other part of this is how to resist the trap. Okay. And this is where I want you to pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you. I've learned it. Okay. And I'm saying this because how would I not also have aligned people in my life to tell me this is your last time here? Obviously, nothing just happened. This is all strategic, right? And so the sad part is that some of y'all ain't gonna see no more. I'm not coming back to deal with this shit. All right, so let's keep going. How do we resist the trap? The word is going to be sovereign refusal. Okay, I want you to kind of suck on that word a little bit, because at death, do not follow anything external. Okay, no tunnels, no figures, and no beckoning light. Do you hear me? I'm telling you. Okay, I'm giving you the key. Study this, understand this, try to get to remember. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people may like this world that we're in. They may like what we're dealing with. And then they become to say to themselves, okay, I'm just going to go back and maybe I want to drink or something. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but they do call it spirits when you drink, by the way. I hope you know that, right? Hell, they done got so good at this. Come to Dallas, all the liquor stores are called Spirit now, because they have to get you to agree and they have to tell us what it is. And so they just call it, okay, go to the spirit store and go in and get you some spirits. You know, go look up Heineken, you know, and go look up the 666, the inversion of that. Go read it. Go, and this is an experiment that I guarantee you will know. If you can fast for about a week or two without any of these liquors and drink Heineken after that fast, you will feel the spirit come into you. You will feel it. It will. Try it, boys and girls. Just try it. Oh, thank you. Someone, you know what? That's good. Someone says my heart is pure or true. I'm just visiting. Hey, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and your heart is true. Thank you. I do have a good heart, and most people know it. Some take advantage of it, some ignore it, and some feel it. So we will go with that. All right. I've always said this, and I have a shirt that I don't even sell to y'all. It says question everything. Think about it. You got to question everything. Now think about where this applies and where you have experienced question everything. You experienced this when you brought in this soul that you brought in. You know, you and did the patty cake, and y'all brought in this soul, a child, a little one. And the little one don't believe nothing you say. They question everything until it pisses you off, till you beat it into them that what you say is law. But they ask you why. They don't say what. They don't be like, they go, why? Because it doesn't make sense to them. You can tell them the most sophisticated thing and they go, why? Because it doesn't make sense, because their souls are not conditioned yet by your laws and programming until you finally said these words, because I said so and I'm going to beat you. Well, hell, we already know what can happen on that deal. So just imagine that. Just imagine that, right? That is what's going on. So I want you to understand that you want to test the guides. Okay, I know I'm getting somewhere here now. I know I'm going to get into some major things right now. I'm telling you, question everything and you test those guides. Okay, that just because they're sitting there don't mean anything. If the angels or relatives cannot withstand your demand for truth, they're false. If you're gonna get up there and you're about to go and they want to tell you some stuff, test them. And then if your guide and your angels get frustrated with you at that moment, they're not for you. I'm just letting you know. That's not true. Love is not going to do that. Okay. If you get what I'm saying. And so you want to remember these things, all right? Because true source and true source and truth does not manipulate. Okay. This is something I had to learn a long time ago, to stand on that truth or true source. Don't manipulate. It just doesn't. So the next thing you want to do is program your soul now. Start programming your soul, not the spirit, by the way. There's a huge difference in what I'm talking about today. All right. program your soul. And how you want to do that before death, you want to start setting the intentions. Intentions is everything. Your body, your cells, everything listens to your intention. Everything does. Everything. Okay. Hell, you can speak intentions to a plant and it's going to grow. You can speak intentions to somebody that you want to date and they're going to run. The intentions set everything. I'm just letting you know. So you want to set your intentions. And if it is responded correctly, then say to yourself, I return to source only. Okay. If you look in my phone, there's a couple of a number in particular that Aaron Lyons gave me a personal call to and I, it's connected to source. And so I have source listed and I don't get that to everybody around me because they're not ready for that, to have that connection, but they can find their own way, in time, and pretty much. But you want to set your intentions that you return to source only. I will not enter false light and I will reclaim my sovereignty, and that sovereignty is your right. And conscious intentions carry into the afterlife. I know I just said a mouthful for you. I'm giving you some things. You're not hearing a lot of this from me all the time, but today was a good day. Conscious intentions carries into the afterlife. All right. Not this worldly intentions that we're in. We're talking conscious intentions because it goes beyond. Okay. It goes beyond everything else. And you can call only on source. This is probably difficult because what I'm getting ready to do now is break down into what I'm saying. We're not talking about no lords. We're not talking no masters. And matter of fact, we're not talking no deities, not beings of light. We're talking about you, the only origin, the first creator, the source that we all came from. That is the sovereign path. We all are connected to one source. This is why Carl Jung, when he started talking about the archetypes and archetypal things and all these archetypes that we all have, and how they started discovering that someone in Australia, someone in America, in their dreams could start dreaming of the same thing, and they don't even know each other because somehow in not the conscious world, not the subconscious world, but below the subconscious world is what we call the collective unconscious world. In the collective unconscious world is where we all are connected to source. And this is why we can all dream like a hive mentality when we're supposed to. But due to all the things that they have done on the outside, the soul traps and everything else, it disconnects. There's people right now who will probably tell you they haven't dreamed stuff. They don't remember their dreams, or they're trying to, or maybe you put some water by your bed, or maybe you can get some beehive. I don't know. But the whole point is if you are getting connected to your dreams at some point, then you'll start to do things. And I try to practice that with a few friends every now and then. We'll try to meet each other in the dream world. So you want to be able to do that as we go. And what I'm going to give you is, before we get into the moon side, which is going to be really good, is what I would call the sovereign path. I want you to know, well, before I get to that, before I get to tell you whatever soul carries, before I get to you to give you all the things that you can do and what I've done and everything else, let's first go into some of our sponsors. Right now, we have Make It Sown. I'm using right now some of this shea butter. And so if you have not went to the website, I'm going to put it on the screen right quick for you. And you can support us. Go to Make It Sown. Let me see here. Let's put it up. Let's find some media. But anyway, the shea butter that she makes comes in what they call Astro Sense collection. We're talking the one illuminate peace, abundance, ascend. These are unisex scents crafted with intention. Now, you heard me just say intention, and I'm so proud of Holly being able to put this in her products and reverence, and then it captures the essence of each moon phase and all of the things that we're doing. So make sure that you go to makeitsown.com and support her, and I will put it on the screen here for you to go to the website. So there it is right there in big and bold print there, makeitsown.com, and get you some shea butter. This right here I'm using is Orion, and then I have this one is called Manifest, and then I have another one down here that I deep down there, way down there. I have a lot of them. This one is called wow, my eyes are touche. Oh, that's stuff they be saying. Ashe and touche and boucher and couche and all of that shit. Shay and shea butter and ashuhuja and y'all come in here and TK and there's a Hoshay day or Osha. I don't know. It's just Shay. Shay is in the root word of all that stuff. That's all I can tell you. So anyway, go to Make Its Own, get your stuff, and do that. Another thing, like I said before, right here is one of my malas. This one is one of my favorites. It's made with amethyst crystals. This one has a ball in it that I have some labradorite or crystals in here that I have some intentions. This is custom made because number one, it works with my scepter. I have a king scepter in my hand here called the Aegis of Aletheia. And on the top of this is a powerful amethyst. And so when I wear these together at some occasions, I do make sure that I am protected. And even in this room, when we first got here, we protected every corner of this room. And you will notice when some people step to our door, they can't come in here. They'll be pausing and they have to get permission. That's ones I really know. Even the door is wide open. But some of those souls won't walk in here, or spirits and stuff, and they'll be like, whatever. But anyway, Judah is our crystal custodian, and I have a much personal love for Judah as my friend, and she's been around, and I trust her. And if you are going to get a mala or something made, I will tell you to definitely give her a call. There's a number on the screen. Most people in our inner circle has had a custom mala made by her. All this week, I'm going to show you all of my different malas. I got a bunches of them for all different occasions. So anyway, go to Charming Malas, give her an email, give her a call, tell her your intentions, and she's going to make the mala. Remember, we're crystals anyway, and she's going to custom make that for not only for you, but at the same time. So y'all support her. She's our crystal custodian, and I remember the date that I called her and told her that she is now that, and then connected her with Brother Yosef to further knowledge. And all her life she's been doing this. And so anyway, that is something I want to share with you all. And but give her a call, let her know that I told you to call her. All right, so let's get down into further what we're going to be doing here. But the main thing is this, and by the way, coming June 13th, we're going to have kind of a get together. But we might need to change a little bit because we actually are going to go over to the movie theater, and I'm thinking we may have to do something before or come back after that, because we now just they reached out to us via TK, and the offering that they gave us is to rent the whole theater for us, even though it holds 80 or 50 or whatever, but we only need 20. So that's what they came back with. But it was so interesting. So we've been in communications that we can have our own room, our own theater room for our group, that we may be able to put together a bunch of us to and have tickets for everybody, and maybe find some sponsors, maybe find some, but we're going to work really diligently over this next week and see if we can pull that off. To where we can do that, or everybody donate to it, and then maybe we can bless other people that we have our first theater rented for us to watch the movie Disclosure together. And then we can rent group foods. They gave us a group menu where we can have all the wings and different things we want. I think it just could turn out to be. So I'm going to work really hard on that, and we will get to that as soon as we can. And again, and y'all thank TK for a wonderful going over there, pulling a gun on them folks, making them call us back. Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna talk about that as well. So here's the deal: the sovereign path. Each soul, your soul, carries a spark source, if you go back to the movies, the Matrix, and all the things that you've heard, they all talk about how the human life in this body and all of this stuff that we're able to do all these things, right? And they talk about this all the time. And so each soul carries a what we call a spark of source. Now, keep in mind the reptilians cannot extinguish that. They can't kill the spark. All right, so they can't do it. They can only veil it. They can hide it. All right, they can make sure that you don't see it. So when we reject the false light, we break a cycle older than recorded history, and we step out of their form because they do have a loose form. If you think back into the movie The Matrix, he starts saying that. Remember, the machine started to form humans. You remember that in the movie. Morpheus was talking about that. So we free ourselves from what we call the trap that's disguised as salvation. And who uses that word all the time? Oh, salvation said this is the Lord, you know, and all this kind of stuff. So, and again, I know I've had my battlefronts. I done fought it before, and you can too. And when it comes time, you will remember. It's no longer us seeking truth. You have all the knowledge in you. It's already there. You don't need the Rodericks or the Billy Carsons and all of these other people. Just start learning how to remember and then go inward for your information. And if you heard me tell you before, if you ever seen our ancestors who left us the question mark, okay, the question mark, it's been inverted. The question mark is really a symbol of pathway that comes down to the bindu, which is you, the dot, right? But they have now put it at the end to make you ask outward for things. How do I do this? How do I make money? How do I whatever with the question mark? But our ancestors were saying that the answers is within you. It's inward, you, source, ourselves. And so we have to get to a point where you begin to trust your intuition and who you are, but you also got to know that you are operating from source, because some of our intuitions and things that we think is our intuition is leading us down a effed up path all the time. Now, how they're doing that is where we're going to get into what I call the moon cycles of what it is. So the moon is a control thing. In the beginning, we didn't have a moon here. Okay, this was a water planet. Mammalian type people like us wasn't here. This is why the reptilians are pissed off, because they were here first at some point, or some type of invasion, but we were not that. Okay, so and at nighttime is why you hear the term lunar and lunatics and all this stuff, because this is where some of the worst things happen, right? And so, and go back to our ancestors, that's why they was talking about Luna, and those words were coming up. So when it got dark, it was completely dark. This is the most feared time in human civilization. We feared it because everything happened in the dark. Now we call it darkness now. But anyway, when the moon was brought here, it changed everything. And the moon as a control system is the soul trap above, okay? The reptilian satellite in our sky. This is why repeatedly we don't go back to the moon. I don't care what y'all talking about. We've been there. That's how we knew not to come back, you know. But just think about it. So that's no moon. That is a space station. If you go back to Star Wars, what was it? Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was talking about that crap, right? So, and remember they hit this thing and it was hollow and it rung for like a bell for days and hours and whatever. So it's not a natural satellite, okay? It's a control node. It's placed in Earth orbit by, they call the Reptilian Orion Draco Alliance, to serve a singular purpose, and that's to hijack the human soul cycle. This is why if you start looking up all of this stuff, it's all connected to the moon, the souls and the imagery of it, the whole 9 yards, and they tried to tell us. So it's the surface is barren if you look at all the pictures and everything else, but the function is not. And it acts like a broadcast hub, so to speak, you know. mind control frequencies. I forget what they said, but there is a type of frequency. They found it, that they talked about this before. But anyway, it mirrors a veil to distort what they call cosmic light and an energetic amplifier of Saturn control grid. Now, what I'm going to read you in a minute is true information. Okay, I'm going to read you and tell you where to find it on Science Daily, where they in 2014, true information, they found the invisible soul net. They said it. I'm going to read you everything about it in a few minutes. Okay, when we get to this part. So we're going to be here a little while longer, but today I'm going to send you in the right direction. Why not? It's Memorial Day. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they're ready to send the donations for the ticket. Can you put the link up?
We don't know yet, and we have to first figure out. Donations for it. Yeah, great. They can do it through the Zelle. So let me put it up on the screen. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna really do some special stuff. Let me put it up on the screen. We have Zelle or PayPal, so it's just either or. There you go. You can Zelle right there at support@truthversusauthority.com, or you can PayPal at contact Why the Big Secret. It's going across the screen there, so y'all can kind of do that. And know that most of you don't know that we are a nonprofit ministry is what we do. So little secret to let you know. So the moon is a reptilian satellite in the sky. Okay. It's what they call a soul inception relay for reincarnation loops. Listen to that, right? It's a mirror well veiled to distort cosmic light, and it's an energetic amplifier of Saturn control grid. And we need to talk more about the Saturnian stuff really soon when we get a chance. And if you just joining us, we're talking about this soul trap. If you missed it, go back and watch the beginning of this video, because I really think I've been really thorough today of giving you some real deep information on this. All right. And we got more to come as we go further. Now, many people who had experienced NDEs, near-death experience, report being pulled toward the tunnel of light, where guides or beings of light urge them to return. But what if this tunnel is not salvation? It's an entrapment. What is it? What if it is? The biggest trap of them all. And I've said it before. Remember, I've told you all that not every church is the place for salvation, but they tell you the word salvation. And if you are going to trap souls here on earth, you build a mousetrap. You have to. You build a mousetrap. And the trap could be the whatever. What is that? How much is the tickets? We don't know that yet. But that's fine for now. But it depends on. It's more than that now. We have to rent the whole room. Yeah, and we may give out a shirt and some other stuff with that. But anyway, yeah, you can go with that for now. All right. So the whole point is, if you're going to build a soul trap, you're going to trap souls. And I didn't say this about every church. There are some good ones out there. Okay, there's good and bad of everything. All right, I'm just letting you know. But there are some who have been positioned themselves to trap your souls when it comes down to that. The soul net, what we call the reptilian rebirth trap, this reptilian factions feed they don't just feed on flesh, but they feed on a life force of being looping into the density. So the moon houses the soul net. It's a frequency barrier that scans, filter, redirect the souls after death back into, none and behold, the 3D reincarnation. 3D. All right. And all I'm saying is this is what they're doing. The other part, instead of returning to source, most souls, all right, interpret at death the false light entities. And a lot of people have done it. You may start remembering that. You may start thinking that, hey, I remember seeing my grandmother when I thought I was going to die and all that. Or you're shown what they call guilt-based holographic life reviews. Maybe all of the stuff, and you're urged to reincarnate to learn more. All right. So that's a bigger trick than the people who are incarnated to come to make change. There are some people reincarnated and they think, yo, you're going to learn some more. You're going to learn it. And it's going to be something there. And the memory wipe is reinserted into what we call the trauma written timelines. This is probably, I think, one of the most important things to really think about why trauma is being so familiar with people, because it's like you being put right back into the same timeline or same trauma based things that they already know is going to work on you. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's very weird. Like I said, when we start looking for love, I'm going to keep using that word. And I've said it before, and I've said it that hopefully I'm starting to remember of saying, have I experienced true love or what that is? And can even people able to giving it? Am I able to give? Because it could be on different levels for everyone. But one thing's for certain that we know that, thank y'all for the contribution we just got on PayPal. I want to appreciate it. So one thing that we know is that that experience is something that we need to do. And I don't know about going about it either way, but sometimes you can get a little disappointed in all of this stuff out here. All right, so let's go with what they're saying as far as us shown a guilt-based holographic life review. And I want to make sure you understand what I'm about to tell you. This isn't karma, okay? Don't get confused. It ain't karma. It's energetic harvesting that they're doing, a loop to keep humanity bound in the polarity, right? In forgiveness. This is the whole point. It ain't karma. We hear about these things, but it's not that. Okay. So I just want you to know. So I'm going to get into the last part, which is the Saturn moon frequency matrix. But before I get to that, let me pull out what I was going to discuss with you. Science Daily, you can look up the headline. It was in 2014. Said invisible shield found thousands of miles above Earth blocks killer electrons. So that we want to use this word. So the summary of this article was that an invisible shield had been discovered 7,200 miles above Earth that blocks the so-called killer electrons, which whip around the planet at near light speed and have been known to threaten astronauts, satellites, and degrade space systems during the solar storms. Now, the full story of this is a team led by University of Colorado Boulder had discovered an invisible shield, which is 7,000 miles away. The barrier to the particle motion was discovered in Van Allen radiation belts, two donut-shaped rings above Earth that are filled with higher energy electrons and protons. And the distinguished professor, Daniel Baker, director of Colorado's laboratory, he said at the first signet discovered the space age, these radiation belts were detected in 1958 by Professor James Van Allen. Now, NASA has always known about this, so I'm going to skip this page. Now, the latest mystery around that is extremely sharp. They're saying that the inner edge of the outer belt and how high it is blocks ultra fast electrons. You got to remember, we're light beings, okay? It's almost like these electrons are running into a glass wall in space. Remember the guy, I forget his name. He's one of the well-known people that we talked to. Remember he said during Dr. Monroe Institute. So there's a lot of you right now that a couple of you, when we did the reptilian thing, got the Monroe Institutes to do the outer body, right? So some of you, sent me that, and I sent you the full part with the actual documents and audio. Well, in that, he said that what he had discovered when he was doing his outer body, that he kept hitting a shield thing that was bouncing his astral body back. And they start covering that mess up. So you can Google and look it up. So he was saying that when we got out of this, so you're going to get out of the body, you're going to get into it. And when you keep ascending, that there was a thing that was bouncing us back or him back. Well, what we do know now that there's holes in the soul net, in these like portals now, okay? These are portals that are in the soul net now, and they're talking about it. And you hear when you start hearing your DNA can encode you to go through these portals. So they exist, all right, and people can get to that. I'm going to leave this particular article alone and let you go and find it and read it because it's not necessarily talking about the soul net, but it talks about electrons and that there is something up there. So now we know what it is, though. So I would advise you to go and look that up. But one of the things that I will talk about is the soul net being a frequency fence theory that they talk about. They say Earth describes as a prison planet, and you heard me talk about it before, enclosed by electromagnetic frequency fence. And they talk about the grid allegedly prevents souls from escaping death. The Matrix, which is what the movie was about anyway, the concept tied to spiritual reincarnation traps. Negative emotion allegedly powers and reinforces the system. Think about that for a minute. Negative emotions allegedly power or reinforce the system. This is why we have chaos. This is why it is generated chaos constantly. And all of your spirit guides, the real ones, all of your insight telling us to raise the vibration so that we can see and get past this. And obviously they know this, and they have to get us doing this as a collective, not singularity, where most people function is why we don't find love, because we in this single phase of, eye for an eye shit. So the tunnel of light theory, we'll get into that. And then, and these are a lot of the show notes and stuff too. So I'm gonna finish what I'm doing, but I can go on forever for this today. I'm letting y'all know. Did a lot of research. So the moon frequency matrix is not a source. It's from Saturn's heptagon storm, which they call inversion logic. I've always kept telling you about the word inversion and making sure everything is inverted. They all inverted, the pentagon, hectagon, hexagram. All of these things are inverted back and forth, and the system suppresses awakening and limits DNA activation. Now, I'm gonna tell you how it limits the DNA, which I found the source code. I used to wear it on my thing. It's called a God seed, and I started putting it up because I didn't want a lot of people that wasn't ready to understand. I've been doing a lot of discovery that I don't talk about, but so I did find the actual God seed, and then started learning about I think it's called ketonics, and which is activating your DNA code. We got the training here around us. And beginning that process. And so I've just been overwhelmed myself personally not to go into a lot of that, but at some point we will go there. But in order to awaken in these DNA activations, dimming what we call the true spectrum of light reaching Earth, they're blocking photonic solar energy that triggers ascension. They're saturating the field with fear-based vibrations. And it's not just chemtrails, okay? We're talking media traps. We're talking cosmic prisons. We're talking Saturn, the moon, Earth grid, the human biofield. This is something I just started reading on too. I got a lot of books on the human biofield. If you ever seen a thing, or where we have, this stuff is deep. It really is. But I think it's important to learn this to get off of this planet, right? So obviously I'm on that journey to leave, all right, at this point. The light trap, also false ascended masters. We learned that when Greta was here, and then I started studying that there are ascended masters. I think there's 3 or 4. I have them on a chart. And somehow we have false ascended masters. And so when people die, they encounter entities that claims to be angels. They encounter entities that claim to be ascended masters, okay? Deceased loved ones, and these guys often lead them directly into the soul net. And many of these constructs are reptilian mask AI. Okay, so we already know artificial intelligence, advanced psychological operations programs to extract compliance and consent. And this is how they stay in alignment with distorted, listen to me, free will laws in this density. And you got to remember, we got free will laws. They have to tell us, and you have to come into some type of an agreement with a lot of these things, and a lot of people we agree to just about anything, right? And so therefore, there's something for you to really think about when you're looking at this. Now, the true masters of light do not demand your return to earth. They don't do that. They guide you to sovereignty, not subjugation. They don't do that. So why does this matter now? And as we're going to come to some end of this stuff, and then I'm going to give you some final thoughts here in a little bit too. But the other part is ascension current is disrupting the soul net right now. This is why I was talking about. You can see so light from the galactic core is amplifying. So there are cracks in the moon's veils that are forming. And this is why you see them spraying with the chemtrails, intensifying. They're trying to make sure they keep this stuff hidden. And I gave, remember we had on our website where we sold the chemtrail like 90 hours and thousands of video, hundreds of 50, I don't know, videos on chemtrail. So you would have learned that it was hidden in there. And those of you who got it, you should have learned it right now. The moon worship and false lunar cycles are being glorified. And then you have artificial moons like the Black Knight satellite, which Billy did a documentary on. I'm in that documentary, by the way. And now this stuff is being disclosed. And so those are things there. Know that ascension has become a frequency used term in the last 3 years. A lot of people started using it, especially, if you think about 3, 5, 10 years ago, they ain't talk about it. But the real change is that they know that their grip is weakening, the reptilian stuff. And this is why now we're starting to hear about some of this stuff. And so there is a way that you want to break that lunar spell. You want to awaken your sovereign memory. You want to choose to come here, not to obey. Like I chose probably to come here and not to obey, but to remember. Do not follow the light, blinding up on death. You want to invoke evoke directly. And again, I want you to say, like I said early in the show, that I only return to source. I reject the contracts of false reincarnation. Now, I use the word contract, okay? And let that stand out for you for a moment, because remember I told you about me hearing about my soul contract. And I never told y'all the ending of the conversation. The ending of the conversation was not to do another fucking contract, is what she told me. And I never said that because a lot of people are so into knowing this purpose is a contract. You don't supposed to have a contract on none of this. You're supposed to have free will if you're going to come back and intervene. So obviously, whatever it was for me not to be coming back was also being told that we want to tell you about this contract. And I never said the ending of that because I just left that out with people all the time. But it was a powerful information once I learned that, oh man, you really? I signed up for that. So I was like, okay, it's fine. But anyway, our source is not giving us contracts. It's giving us our will and desire to do what we are. But go back to what most people know, ground with the earth, not the moon. Lunar rituals have been inverted, so to speak. You can tap into the knowledge of the moon and things that Holly and a lot of stuff do, but ground with the earth, okay? Disengage from sectarian loops, time loops. Break the calendar mind bending systems that are out there. You can refuse the lunar programming, especially, listen to me closely. There are a lot of false feminine archetypes out there. Mood manipulation, distorted fertility codes, and all of this stuff. Look deeply into what I'm talking about. We should have masculine and feminine archetypes, but there are some false ones. And you hear a lot of people talk about them and implement those and all of those all the time. And because the power of the feminine is so fucking strong and real, by the way, that some people invoke the false ones, in which our divine feminine side is the master of the power of it all. Okay, it's the most powerful part. So throw that out there to you. But be careful of the false feminine archetypes. I'll give you a final thoughts about the moon. The moon may rise over our skies because we see it every night, but its light is not the truth, so to speak, right? If you wanted to think about that, and you're not here to be recycled. You're here to break the grid from within, and ascension flows through your blood, right? It really does. And this is why they're always after our blood. Something about the blood. It's like everything is there. Memory is there. The vampires will bite you to remember everything. You know, we got to start looking at the things like, how does that make sense now, right? The signal can be overridden, and your mind eyes can be realized. And this is when I would tell you your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. All right. And just remember that as we go. The next thing we're going to be talking about, I think, is very essential. We'll probably do it tomorrow, maybe tomorrow night, a little bit on Billy Carson's channel too, is why do they host celebrities? I've been doing a lot of research on that. And so there's a reason for that, you know, so that you will know. And if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see up there on the banner, I have the pictures of these celebrities and all these things. Another thing I want to bring to your attention, I've been doing a lot of meditation on this and whatever, but we are going to really focus on our Patreon area. And for those who have already been there and has been loyal, and, you know, because I haven't uploaded there in a while, you know, thank you. There are some special things that I'm going to do for that. But in the meantime, we're going to be doing our Patreon, and let me put it up on the screen for you. It is our 33rd parallel. We're going to go unveil the knowledge, and let me stop this banner up here first and go there. We're going to be doing shadow work in there. We're going to be doing monthly webinars, the stuff that we were charging for. We're just going to do it free in the Patreon. I'm going to do a free monthly consultation call for anybody once a month, 30 minutes, no matter if you're a Patreon member. There will be a place to schedule this call for whatever reason that you want. We're going to be doing, like I say, the shadow work stuff, all of our trainings. I'm going to do a weekly live stream in there starting Thursday at 7 p.m., all in our Patreon. And so you can go to truth versus authority universe. Truth versus Authority at Patreon. TK will probably do the book club in there as well, so we'll make sure it's catered there. So our book club will be in our Patreon as well. And a lot of things that's going to happen in that Patreon. We're going to, again, you have to understand the shadow work about the reptilian stuff. I have shadow work guides. I have the how to protect your solar plexus. I may start uploading the PDFs of those so that you can have that. We're going to do ancient symbolism knowledge in there. And like, once again, those webinars that we've been doing will be in the Patreon. Esoteric decoding, you know, we're going to be uncovering hidden planetary agendas and everything else. And then, like I said, you're going to have archive access. And then all of you will be founding members. Now, again, some of you are already in there at our 26 or whatever, and then some of you have been was helping us out with the other stuff, but the only thing available is going to be the 33 pledge for you to go there. Okay. And so starting Thursday, we're going to live stream in there. Even though we're doing our 5 o'clock, we'll live stream weekly at 7 in our Patreon webinars. I'll do the reptilian thing again in there. I'll do the sovereign. We're just going to celebrate that, because those are in those of you who have already been there waiting. Thank you for that. But anyway, back on the screen, you can screenshot it. It's the 33rd parallel, the unveiled hidden knowledge. That is our prevail. And so we're going there, hopefully to see you in there so that you can get the extra knowledge and things that we don't talk about out here. But we're going, and our book club is going to be in there, so or access to that. So hopefully you join us for that. I hope you found value into what we're talking about today. You know, I have a book out, The Unspeakable Truth. You can go to roderickmartin.com. I am so happy for those of you who have already supported me this week. And I still got, I think, 4 left right here, 3 or 4. And I really would love to sign these and send them out. And I'm going to start doing some reading from this, because there's a lot of stuff in here that will helpful for everyone from there. And again, I hope you found value today. It is a holiday. And I'll be first to admit that just about every holiday, I'm not anywhere. Like I said, when I was married, the She-Wolf family did meet a lot. And so therefore I did get some type of entertainment. My family's always been disconnected, and just my mom, and then my brother and my mom, stays at home and stuff. So over the last 5 years or 6 years being divorced, I've been, really here doing those things. And it used to be where people were like, well, Roderick, I would have called you to the barbecue, but I thought you'd be busy. I've heard that so much now. So I think that's probably one of the inspirations of starting our own community, so I can have my own family, right? And all that. And I'm very cautious because I love to meet people that have their family, and I love to be a part of their family. And often, those are things. But I say that to say that if you're here with us today and you're doing your thing, we are your family. Welcome home. We're all going to stick together and do a lot of things, especially if you can get you close enough to Dallas and you can feel the loves and hugs, right? I think that'll be a big thing for you to really feel and all of those things. I think, let me see any chats. If there are anything else that you all want to put in the chat, I'll throw up on the screen. What's up, Becky? World is in the house. But yeah, so I love you. I love each and every one of you. I hope that we all at some point again experience those three things: unity, home, and love. Okay. Those are the three things that, and if you can't get it, you can get it where we're going to be putting it together. And we're going to be doing that. And so I just want you all to know to, put it out there with the intentions, but also look within when you find it or it approaches you, or all of the things that it does. You just got to know. So with that being said, hopefully again, see you in the Patreon, patreon.com /Truth versus Authority. It will probably be the best space on planet. And I think it would do that. If you're going to support us for our movie night, we are a nonprofit, organization ministry, and we have arrived, a long time ago, and pretty much. And so, someone said I'm late. I wanted to ask the question, but I can't wait another time. I can wait another time. Well, if you want to throw it up on the screen right quick, you can hurry up and do that. And I'll answer the question. My email address is, if it's support at truthversusauthority.com. If it's anything for that, if it's something you just want to send to me, you can go rod at roderickmartin.com, and you can do that as well. But again, I hope each and every one of you, enjoy your day today. And tomorrow we're going to get out there. We're getting out there all week. All right. So we got some good stuff going. I'm going to wait for your question, Becky. If you're going to ask you, I'll put it up on the screen. If not, we'll get out of here and let's see what we have. All right. I know it's a delay, so I'll wait just a second here. And pretty much. All right. No question then. Unless I don't see it just yet, we will do. But anyway, so yeah, be careful. All the good stuff. All right, I'm getting ready to end it right now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, make sure y'all share and like this video. Please go back and do some comments on YouTube as we do that. And let's do that. All right, good night, y'all.
UFOs,
UAPs,
unidentified anomalous phenomena,
unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
all questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago.
The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Let's try.